Baphomet for role of the passenger. Sympathy for the Devil, Scene 1.
Now you break my nose? I wanted to be 100% sex tonight, and you cut that in half. I'm now 50% sex. Look, see that? I'm Edward G, see? I'm Edward G. Robinson. You can't kill me, see? Yeah?
This is Flip Flops. Welcome back to Flip Flops, the podcast where we suffer through poop and give you the scoop. Reviewing films that are critically deemed rotten, we jump in as two ordinary guys and tell you if these films are worth a watch. Today we are carpooling with Nicolas Cage and Joel Kinnaman in the 2023 action thriller Sympathy for the Devil, where Kinnaman plays a man desperate to get to the hospital where his wife's currently in labor but is carjacked by a gun-wielding Cage who forces him to drive to an unknown fate. Does the movie stay in its lane, or does it veer off a cliff, or perhaps is it like many a film where Cage is the real reason to watch? Find out on episode 24 of
What are you saying, Gary?
Flip Flops. Find out on Flip Flops. I'm hitting my mic.
He's got almost a big time wrestling approach to acting.
Never really thought about that, but yeah, that's kind
Let me
of
tell you something, brother.
Yeah.
That's well, boy, Sympathy for the Devil. Wow, I don't know where to start with this one.
Start with your numbers.
Okay, I'll do that. Let me get to that real quick. Skitty boo, hey. Numbers. Here's what I've got. Rotten Tomatoes, which, as we always say, is our aggregator that we use as a major reference point. The critics have this thing at 60, which is actually fresh, according to the critics. The audience has it at 58, so they're pretty close with this one as far as where they excuse me, where they sit, where they feel. I could not find any budget numbers on this. I don't know what it was made for, and I apologize for any listener that might be curious of what it cost to make this masterpiece. We do have box office numbers now, Gary. You had to double check my numbers because I was wrong. I was very generous with my wrong, and you smartly,
well, accidentally
double checked my numbers. This film, oh boy, worldwide has grossed $70,394. That is not a typo or a hero. That is 70. Wait, it's got to be your cape. $70,394 worldwide.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, regardless, or as some people like to say, irregardless of what the critics think, this is a flop. At least box office wise. Now,
just real quick on that, according to this, it's just short of 12,000 domestic.
Now, I will say this, and I don't know this, and maybe you can pull it up while I'm babbling on. How many theaters is that in? Does it? Can you find that number anywhere? I did not look that up.
Not sure.
Because if it's only in 50 theaters, then that's, I guess he's doing all right. But still, that's 70,000 is wildly disappointing. Even for Nick Cage. Come on, people. He's like a god to us.
According to this, it says 28 theaters.
Okay, so I'm not going to dog that out too much. In 28 theaters. I didn't even know this thing was even out.
That's 7 days of reporting for the 11,990.
Okay. So I'll be slightly forgiving. I will not trounce all over this thing. This thing was written by a guy named Luke Paradise. I could not find anything else on this guy. It was directed by a guy named Yuval Alder. Alder. He has, according to his wiki page, he has done 3 other films. Nothing of note that I think any of us would recognize or know. So I'm not going to run the guy down for any of that. That's not what I'm getting at. Any of that. I don't like to do that to people unless it's horrendous, i.e., Catwoman. There are. Oh, that's the numbers. Let's move on. I don't want to. I want to get into my thoughts on this. So let's jump to our next part. And
Hey, real quick, I'll tell you that writer has, it looks like about 7 films
okay,
in development at the moment and 1 in post-production.
okay,
So he must be new to the scene.
yeah.
That's all I
Well,
can see.
well, we can talk about the writing here in just a second. I'm gonna do something new here on the ratings, Gary. This is
Oh,
unprecedented.
exciting.
Unprecedented.
I'm not even prepared. Should I get prepared?
Well, I just think you should just be like, okay, I
Here's
see
how
where you're at with
prepared I
it.
am. Let's see it. Do it.
So I'm gonna give this. I gotta find my number here. Wait, there it is, right there. I give this
4 poos?
4 poos, 4 turd emojis for the movie itself. But Gary, stand by.
Oh.
Oh shoot! Wait a minute.
Thief!
Where's
You thief!
I give it 2 for Nick Cage. Nick himself gets 2 because he is the Nick Cageiest I've seen in a long time, and it was worth watching for that. I did not mean to steal your toilet paper thunder. So for the film, I give it a 4 because this film to me lacked a lot of. It just seemed retread. It seems like there's nothing new in this thing. There was nothing exciting. I mean, one of the highlights that I wrote down. I mean, literally, it's like the only highlight I wrote down. Well, I'll go with 2. At one point, he's trying to do a Boston accent. Nick Cage is.
Yeah.
Emphasize the word trying.
Yeah.
He at one moment slips into a Christopher Walken accent.
Dude, you stole my line. It's hilarious.
Pick a card.
Buddy, I'm not an Uber, okay? Are you robbing me?
I didn't say I was robbing you. I said pick a card. Come on, a card, you know. Clubs. Hearts.
So
that's
I'll
hilarious.
stop there. I'll let you give your ratings, and then we will continue on.
All right. That's hilarious. I can't wait to talk about that. Here's my rating. 1.5 TPs.
So you saying you like this movie. Again, let's reemphasize our rating system is completely backwards.
Yes, it is.
If
backwards.
the film is really good, it gets low ratings. If it's really bad, it gets lots of ratings.
Yes.
So hence for me, it was 4. For Gary, it was 1.5. So Gary
I will say I
apparently enjoyed this.
I wouldn't say that it was a great movie, but I did enjoy a lot about the movie.
Okay.
I think maybe for me, I took your 4 for the whole overall film, and then your 2.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't quite give it that far out of bounds, but I somehow mixed the 2. I did what I didn't do the whole separate for Cage approach, but
well, it's unprecedented. It's a I just felt
you just wanted to give Cage his due.
I so enjoy his acting. I truly enjoy his acting, and I mean, the man delivers a line like nobody's business.
I think part of the thing with him is, and we can get to the walking thing. He's just unpredictable. He walks razor's edge of where he's going to come down on something. You just don't know what to expect, and that's why I think I like him so much, because he's entertaining regardless of how good or bad the writing is, or good or bad the movie is. He's entertaining to watch.
If you can give him crap dialogue, and he will sell it like it is Oscar worthy material. And I mean, I enjoy that. Just overall for me, this movie was it was just okay. I'd be hesitant to recommend it to people just because I was like, it just and I wish I had found an option to say watch this instead. I didn't think of that while I was watching because I just watched this literally finished watching it this morning. It's good. I was entertained. I didn't want to turn it off, but like at one point I did get a little like, okay, let's just move the story forward.
Yeah.
I like there's a little twist kind of at the end, not a major twist, but like something's revealed.
Yeah,
If you know what I'm talking about. And
I mention a spoiler alert at some point.
I enjoyed that. I was like, okay, cool. I like this. But let's talk about Nick's voice acting.
So quickly, the note that I have that you stepped on,
Sorry,
which is great. I love it when we're like writing. My note says, at first I thought he was doing a Christopher Walken impersonation, and it made my mind wander into the realm of wondering what it would be like to see these two in opposite roles in their classic movies, like seeing Walken do one of Cage's. You know what I mean? Like
we need to do, and Gary, this just came to me.
To a degree, they're kind of the same. Like,
look at me, hear me.
Okay,
half of this work is already done for you, and when I say you, I mean you, not me. You need to work on melding. Face off. Take Travolta out and put Walken in, and let them just go at it.
Yeah. That would be hilarious. They're just because Walken's another one that's really entertaining, and you don't know what you're going to get.
Hello, Castor Troy. I can't do a Walken to save my life.
Yeah, me neither. Guest spot for Jay Moore to come on and.
Dude. All right, I'm making a note to contact Jay Moore's.
Right. Yeah. Sure, he's gonna call right back.
Who's this again? Oh, Andy from Flick Flops. Definitely not calling. Definitely not calling him back.
Most of my notes refer to spoiler type stuff, but before we go there, I just want to say, like, for me, I don't tend to pay a whole lot of attention to certain things unless they're bad when I'm watching a movie. Like bad direction sometimes will stand out horribly to me, and good direction, unless it's something fantastic, it usually just doesn't really stick out. However, I noticed a bunch of shots and stuff in this movie, and the coloring of the film, like the colors of it were interesting to me. I like this whole scheme that's in the background here with the blues and the reds, and you got Cage's hair's red for some unknown
That's
reason.
another whole conversation.
That could have been a character choice from him for all we know, but I thought directing wise and everything, this didn't appear to be like a B movie feel or anything like that. This felt like I don't know how much money was behind it. I don't think there's not really like a ton of effects or anything like that, but a well done film in my eyes.
Production. Yeah, I agree. I think it was shot well. Like I said, it kept me interested enough. I think for me where I got hung up is and it's going to sound dumb and petty, but I don't understand the title. Just Sympathy for the Devil. I thought he was literally going to be the devil, like a Al Pacino character in that lawyer movie he did with Keanu Reeves,
Right.
And I was like, because he had the red hair, I'm like, oh, this is the devil, like something's gonna have to pay, reckoning's coming, and it did in a way, but I just was like, I don't know, I don't get the title. It seems to me like they had an idea for like, oh, I like this title of a movie, now let's write a movie around it, but they didn't. They just kept the title and just like, we'll just write a typical gangster movie. Is that was?
I'll come back to that point. It's spoiler area. One more thing before spoiler. I will say that Cage's character, and much like the way Cage acts, I felt like one of the things I did like about this was that his character was unpredictable, because I really wasn't sure what he was going to do at any moment, much like his acting.
Yeah, I mean, there's a scene, maybe you'll address it, but there's a scene where he shoots somebody that I did not expect.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
When he gets a little mouthy with a law officer.
Let's go ahead and break into spoiler territory now, because I
You have
want to mention a couple things before we go too far.
you don't have a graphic for spoilers yet?
Yeah, it'll come up right now. You see it?
I tried to pause.
Pretend it's here. I will say that I think that you like I never really thought much about the title until you just said that.
Yeah.
And now that you do, I feel like maybe it is valid because the twist of the whole movie is, and this is a thing that has kind of always fascinated me, is the thought of evil, quote unquote, meeting evil, instead of there ending up being a protagonist, which is what you're meant to feel for this person the whole movie, and how is he going to get out of this situation, and come to find out he's a bad guy too.
Right.
And maybe he's the devil, and that the entire time you've been sympathetic towards that character, only to find out that he's actually
Okay. I can see what you're going with that.
You know what I
I
mean?
can pick up what you're putting down.
You smelling what I'm stepping in?
Yeah. You can type at the bottom here, Andy redacts his opinion and changed his mind. Because I get now when you put it in those terms, I do see what you're saying there because of the twist at the end. And I'm like, oh yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah. And it used to be that I hated the thought of a character that you are forced to kind of root on when it's a bad character. Like you have nobody to root for. I think Kevin and I have talked about this in the past where it's like there's nobody to root for. You know, they're all a bunch of assholes or jerks or whatever. In this case, I don't remember what the specific thing was that really brought that up, but I've noticed a trend where you've got characters that are, you know, nobody is black and white, good or evil. There's shades of gray in characters. You know, some people do questionable things at times, which could be perceived as evil or bad to another person. Breaking Bad is a good example of, you know, there's the main character that you kind of find yourself rooting for.
Yeah.
That's, you know, starts off with a good thing in mind, what he's trying to do, but through a bad way, and then becomes bad. You know,
he's really a horrible person.
Yeah.
Well, he was a good person doing a horrible thing.
Yeah. So I find the whole character thing of bad meeting bad, or in this, you know, evil meeting evil. And then I always thought it was like the From Dusk Till Dawn is an interesting example of like evil characters coming into a place where there's more evil than them, something worse than them. I always thought that kind of was an interesting story. And that's why I wanted to say spoiler alert, because that's what this is really. Only the main characters, we'll go back to the title, you're sympathetic towards that character for almost the entire time before you start seeing things are starting to change a little bit and you get a better idea of what the story actually is.
Yeah, because you see some definite opportunities where he could have come clean.
Yeah.
And he lets people die.
Yeah.
Before finally coming clean. It's like,
yeah,
God, dude.
Yeah,
dude,
it's crazy.
Like 2 innocent people were clearly killed for no reason. 3.
I will say that's pretty much all my notes on that. I found myself pretty much, I enjoyed it. There is maybe a little area towards the middle that does seem to drag a bit. But I feel like Cage always keeps it interesting. I think that you wanted to mention a review that you were reading.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. I got wrapped up in you talking me into my different opinion. Gary, let me read this review. This is from a guy named Walter Chaw, CHAW. He writes for something called Film Freak Central. And this review made me laugh. And I always look for those. I'm never looking to crap on anybody or their films specifically. It happens. But this one was fantastically, made me giggle. He says, quote, Walter Chow, quote, Cage can be an exceptional actor when he wants to be. Don't get me wrong. I just wish he wanted to be more than once every 10 years.
Oh, jeez. Ah, so mean.
That is a little cold, and that is not from me. But as I'm reading, I reading through reviews and I'm like, oh wow, that's cold. But I want to give the guy credit. That was I like a well-written review.
Yeah.
Even if I don't necessarily agree with it. But I mean, I don't disagree because I think this film it's middle of the road for me. You know, I'm trying to I can't think of anything like it, but it's just this falls into that realm of like nah, I don't even want to say because it's just it's not a real comparison. But
Yeah.
it just when I'm watching this, I felt like I've seen some of these ideas in different movies in better versions of these ideas, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. It's not
Yeah.
I think I mean, look, I wish I could write a screenplay this good and get it sold. I would be more than happy. But someone just watching it, I was like, you know, I don't know that I would recommend it to anybody. Maybe my dad, he might get a kick out of it.
I will say without the performances of those two characters, because I think Joel Kinnaman does a really good job in this as well. I think without
agreed.
their performances, this in the hands of you know, lesser actors, it wouldn't be as good as it is. Which is not to say that it's a great movie. I agree with you that it's a certain audience and it's not one that I would just be like, oh, you haven't seen that? You gotta see it. That's not one of those for me.
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, you haven't seen it?
I enjoyed it, you know.
You're like 99% of the population. You haven't seen it.
Yeah. What were those
You're
numbers
welcome.
again?
You're welcome.
Oh, shoot. All right.
Yeah, I did what I did. I broke it down based on dollar amounts. If you average a ticket price of $16 a ticket, 4,399 people have seen this movie in the theater.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's an accurate account, but if you break it down, just averaging $16 a ticket, that's what you come up with. So good on you, Sir Cage. I wish you more success in life. He was also, real quick, he was a producer of this film, so he was hands-on with this film.
Well, yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
So, but that's all I got. I don't want to. We can just keep hammering the nail, but there's no need to. We've said our piece.
This is true.
Nick Cage rules. But you can quote me on that. You can quote me.
Okay, down here at the bottom, Nick Cage rules. Right before the closing. Thank you for joining us once again on Flick Flops. Join us next time. We will take on another film and let you know if it's worth watching or not.
Flicky floppy.
Adios.
This has been a Touch of Madness production, brought to you by the creative minds at Tommy Twins Media.